Mic check. Are we live? We are live now, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? This is your brother Shabazz. Sometimes your Professor Shabazz. This is At the Proper Perspective. Coming to you live tonight. Yes, it's kind of late. I've been on the road all day and forever. But as I was getting ready to sign off for the day, I caught this interesting notification. And I figured let me go ahead and tackle this right now before I call it a night. And so let me pull this thing up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. So can y'all see that on the screen? No, I don't like that. How about this? There you go. So I made this post. And I'm getting it from another person, so I'm sharing this person's information because I think it's appropriate and it was worth my time. So I figured I might as well make it a part of my YouTube universe. But a poster named Harold Beatty says Trump is sowing the seeds of unrest in this country. Now, I tend to agree. He's been trying everything to get an uprising from the American people. Now, again, I agree. I think it speaks to why so many black people, African Americans, foundational black Americans, if that's the title that you choose, have been kind of sort of sitting on the sidelines, especially when it comes to like protests and rallies and marches and no kings this and no kings that, and we not on the scene. Because we already know he's trying to get a rise out of the American people because he needs a very good excuse on paper, the surface level, to institute martial law. The only thing he got from all of this, because so many people are painfully aware of this, was a nonviolent no kings rally. And this doesn't feed into the narrative that he's trying to stoke and create and carry forth. He wants mayhem. He needs mayhem. He's looking for just one thing. All he needs is one spark. Just like Nas said, all he needs is one mic. All he needs is one spark. One thing that will trigger the American people to get violent. And voila, he can institute the next phase of his plan. Now, it doesn't mean that if everybody remains peaceful, he will not move forward into the next level of his plan. That's not what I'm saying. But he definitely wants the excuse of violence, because it makes things so much easier. So he's tried everything. And now we are entering upon, the real reason behind the SNAP benefits being expired, entering the political ball field. He's going to try and starve the people to force them to either bow down to me and give me everything I want, or maybe y'all just got to steal your food from the grocery stores. Maybe y'all gonna feel like you need to burn down a federal government building out of anger over the government shutdown. That's what he's hoping. And so that's what this person is pointing out in the comment that they made, and that's why I'm sharing it. Because I do believe this is an actual thought process that is being calculated and counted on by the current administration. Because if people act on this anger, then the current administration will be able to, they can then do what they've been wanting to do. And that is essentially instituting martial law in every state and finally get all things. Like they got almost everything in their control. They have the Supreme Court, they have obviously the White House, they have Congress, they have the House of Representatives, and they have the US Senate. They got most of the appellate courts. It's some of the lower courts that they don't have. The ones that they don't have, they just don't listen to. So this is the post that I made. This is the comment that I made. I'm sorry, this is the post that I shared. Let me get that right. This is the comment that I shared. And so now, you know, if you disagree, that's fine. You don't have to disagree. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not a dictator. But I do find it interesting. I do find it extremely interesting. Not in the disagreement. I welcome those. I always say that. Let's duke it out on the battlefield. I'm always welcoming difference of opinion. But I do find it interesting that the only thing that someone can muster as a disagreement is just a smidgen of a, well, I can't say an ad hominem because they didn't technically attribute their sentiment towards me personally. But it certainly isn't, you know, food for thought, brain power type of information, type of a response. Now, what am I talking about now? Let me go ahead and pull up this person's comment. So this person, the Darwinists, interestingly enough, they would call themselves the Darwinists. I don't know. Let me see if I can get it into the screen. There we go. So this person, and can we pull it into the screen the right way? There we go. The Darwinists. So the Darwinists happens upon my page. I do appreciate the engagement. I'm not ungrateful. But let me see if I can get his. There we go. Let's see. Are we getting it in there now? Can we get it up in there on the screen? I could just say it. There we go. So this person says, and again, I do think it rather interesting that they're going by the name the Darwinists. There's all kinds of conversation. There's all kinds of argumentation that can be made about the Darwin theories. But I do find it rather interesting that a lot of what Darwin is known for is secretly, or not so secretly, if you're only privy to the Eurocentric lens of academia, then it's secretly racist and supportive of white supremacist ideologies. Now, I'm not saying Darwin is a racist. I'm saying the theories that he proposed, they fit so neatly into the realm of racism, racist ideologies, white supremacist ideologies. I think some of the people who want to make sure that they keep Darwin as a clean cut example of academic intellectual excellence, they want to make sure that we don't confuse Darwin or Darwinism with what they call social Darwinism, because it is the social Darwinism that has become, the poster child for academic white supremacy. But that's another story altogether. I'm just saying it's interesting that the individual who thinks that the ideas espoused in the post that I made are ideas that are unhinged, when actually, if you want to be perfectly honest about the thing, there could be nothing more unhinged than the current administration in and of itself. They're the ones that's unhinged, not someone that calls them out for exactly what they're doing. But okay, I've given my little ad lib speech. If you're familiar with my channel, then you know I like to put puzzle pieces together, and that's what I'm really trying to do here. So someone called me, the Darwinist 672 called my post unhinged. So let's be real about it. We have watched during the first time this man has been in office, and we have watched during this current Can you believe it's only been 10 months? Now we're about to go into a month number 11, but still, we have watched this man, Taco Man, try to overturn an election. We have watched him inspire the January 6th um, failed coup d'etat. We have watched him pardon all of the unlawful, unruly, law breaking vandals on the January 6th incident. And people still refuse to connect the dots. Some people still refuse to connect the dots. And there are some who are doing it. I happen to be one. Connect the dots, put the puzzle pieces together. But there's a god awful amount of people, a god awfully lot amount of people who refuse to connect the dots. But let's just look at the pattern. Because since he has come back into office, he's been testing boundaries every day. Every controversy that he has sparked, every norm that he has broken, it's all for one goal. At the very least, he's trying to push the envelope to see just how far he can get away with. But the goal is not just to push the envelope. The goal is either to officially and directly or unofficially and indirectly, de facto, be declared, exist as a dictator. Now, he doesn't care which way he gets it. Everybody says a win is a win. Well, you can win by 20 points or you can win by 1. A win is a win. So let's just make sure we do fully understand this. This is what he is up to when he pushes the envelope. And so, yeah, one of the reasons he doesn't care about the No Kings rally and protest, y'all saw the video that he did. Y'all saw the little animated meme, cartoon characterization of him flying in an airplane and releasing feces upon the No Kings rally protesters, participants. We really need to stop calling it a protest. It's not a protest. It was a rally. It was a march, but it wasn't a protest. But even when the people gather, come together collectively to peacefully express their discontent with his handling of the government. And because they do it in a peaceful manner, they didn't give him an excuse. They didn't give him what he needs, what he wants. So what does he do next? Government shutdown. Let's create real desperation. Let's turn it up a notch. Because people can't pay their bills. At least people who work directly for the federal government. But this is a chess move. This is not stupidity. One thing I really wish people would stop calling this man stupid and dumb and unintelligent. This is very cunning work. It's nasty work, the way as some folk like to say. This is not the work of a dumb person. He knows that there are enough government employees where they definitely get the first brunt. They bear the brunt of the first strike when he shuts the government down. But when that number of people are not in a position where they either know they're not going to get a check or they're not too sure if they're going to get a check, their money is now halted. Their revenue stream is now dried up. Maybe temporarily, maybe not temporarily. But when they don't get their money, they can't go off into the community and spend that money. So businesses that rely on that segment of the population for their revenue, now they're hurt. The trickle down. This ain't the trickle down that Reagan taught everybody. But it is the trickle down that Reagan didn't want you to recognize. So when people can't pay their bills, they can't eat. Federal services collapse. And of course, that creates chaos, or at least it creates the anticipation and the expectation for chaos. And if the government shutdown isn't enough, what else can we take away from them? Now, we've literally heard him talk about using military force domestically. But the Darwinist says that it's an unhinged take to call him out for it. What's so unhinged? That's my question. What is so unhinged when you're I want to say, I'm not supposed to be cursing up here. You're near quoting the man. So you don't like the word dictator? Is that what it is? But like I said, we've literally heard him talking about using military force. That is dictatorial. We literally heard him use the phrase dictator on day one. So who was the African American poet? I'm always forgetting her name. She said, when somebody tells you who they are, believe them the first time. He told us who he is. Now we can have a conversation about all those people of the variant melanated or demelanated groups that heard him and didn't believe him and voted for him anyhow. But amongst all of this, you want to know what's unhinged? What's unhinged is taking money away from starving children or soon to be starving children. They won't starve in last month. Okay. Because they had the assistance that they had been promised. And now he's promised they're not going to get it when we got 2 days left. Actually, less than 2 days. This is the 30th. So you got 1 day and then bam after that. And he's out here trying to gaslight everyone. Him and Speaker Johnson, they're all like excellent gaslighters, saying the Democrats are responsible for the shutdown. Gaslighting. The Democrats are responsible for the withholding of the SNAP benefits. Gaslighting. Riddle me this. If Republicans didn't need the Democrats to shut the government down, why do they need them to open it? If they didn't need the Republicans, if the Republicans didn't need the Democrats to withhold the SNAP benefits, why do they need them to distribute them again? Gaslighting. That's all it is. The ego trip, the narcissism of it all. They control everything. What levers of institutional power is not 100% controlled by the Republicans? The executive branch, they run that. The legislative branch, they run that. And now I'm forgetting the other term for it. But if you control the White House and you control the Supreme Court and you control the House of Representatives and you control the Senate, you even control major portions of the appeals court process system. So on the rare occasion where you might lose in court, when you appeal it, it's going to one of your comrades. So you win on appeal. It's nothing but political gaslighting. If you control all levers of power, but the way the rules are set forth, you still can't get your agenda done, you're a gaslighter. You're playing games. SNAP benefits has become a political football. But you're playing against yourself. You control everything. This is what they mean when they say manufactured crisis. Go look in the playbook for manufactured crisis. Go take a college course, manufactured crisis 101. This is what it is. Now, the current administration is banking on people being understandably too desperate, too aggravated, too angry, too confused to see through the smoke and mirrors. But that's why we put puzzle pieces together. Now, normally I open up my video by saying, peace, hotep, and shout out to all the positive people in the universe and those who know how to look past the smoke and mirrors. This is what they don't want us to do. So the dear commenter who says this is unhinged, you just got it wrong. Calling this unhinged is exactly what lets authoritarianism, big vocabulary word for some people, creep in, dismissing legitimate concerns as paranoia until it's too late. Because that's the thing. It will soon be too late. It almost is too late. This is not conspiracy talk. This is not conspiracy theory. Now, what you can call it is pattern recognition. We've seen leaders manufacturing crises before to grab power. We see it all throughout history. So, no, this is not an unhinged take. This is a clarion call. This is paying attention. Now, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, peace to all the positive people in the universe. This is your brother Shabazz. I didn't plan on staying on here that long. Just wanted to give my thoughts, give a response to the account that made a comment on my post. Now, if you agree, if you disagree, I welcome all opinions. We can duke it out on the battlefield of my comments. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel and get the notifications when I go live and when I drop new videos. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.